Okay, hello. I was thinking about what I wanted to say, but there wasn't anything coming. So this is not about knowing. This is not about being clear about whatever is going on. Everything is lost. So this is also not a meeting. Can be there's something going on, like trying to get more clear about what non-duality is and how life is going on and what is life maybe. This is not about knowing or being clear. It's what it is. And that's already what's going on. It's already what's going on for no one. And that's one of the things that most of the time there's a misunderstanding about I am here. That's so most people are so clear, and so it's so normal to feel that I'm here, I have a free will and choice, and I can make my life happen, and I can do my best, and then it will go better maybe, or things like that. When I'm saying there's no one, there's also no free will and no choice. And no free will and no choice, that can be huge, because that normally is part of that whole feeling of I'm in control and I can make things happen, or there's some hope, then maybe one day it will be better. And then there's coming to these meetings, and it's not talking about someone. There's not seeing someone. There's not seeing an individual. There can be seeing faces and bodies, of course, but it's very, very, very literally. It's exactly how it is. So when there's hand, then there's hand, and that's everything. It's when there's a room, then that's everything. And we are so, as humans, able to abstract everything, that we can see that there's time. Time is part of that, the story of me, and living in distance. So there's over here and over there. There's outside and inside. There's before and after, all that. And when that's going on and then very, very much understood, then there seems to be a story, because there's also a lot of things going on, like trying to know why, and assuming there are a lot of thoughts going on, assuming that you know why things are happening. It's because of you saying that I feel really bad now, so you have to change, you have to do something about it. All that is the story of me. There seems to be a lot of problems, because when there's a story of me, it's like I am the center, and everything is happening to me. Circumstances are happening to me. And what's going on in the body, because the body seems very real and solid, and there seems to be thoughts going on, and feelings can happen. And it's very clear for most people that feelings are inside the body and our mind, thoughts are inside the head and our mind. And then there's this talking about non-duality and saying, no, the body, nothing is real. So also the body isn't real. It's an appearance. Everything is an appearance of energy. You could say energy. So nothing is solid and real. There's nothing you can get hold of it. And that's very frightening, because then there's nothing in your hands. There's feelings, but it's not even yours. There can be a feeling somewhere in space, you could say. But it has nothing to do with someone or with this body or this person, all that, or somebody else. The whole story, when there's no one, the whole story is out of the window. And that's when there's me, that seems the only way to talk about I'm living my life, and how can I deal with everything, and trying to heal. And also what's going on when there's suddenly there can be that feeling of I'm here and this is the world, or there are other persons, and there suddenly there's two. When there's really little children, there's one. Babies, it's just one. And then suddenly they can abstract more, like 2 years old, something like that, I think. And then there seems to be two. I am here and you. I am here. And there's time and all that. So the brain can abstract. And then the whole story seems to start. It's like if the whole story starts, and then there's also an idea of a feeling, or how do you say it? A belief that I am inside. I am someone. I'm capable of and having a free will and capable of having a free choice and making my life work. And then there's trying a lot and maybe going to all kind of places, and then suddenly there's coming also to this kind of meetings, and there's talking about there's no one, and also there's talking about there are no problems. So that seems very attractive, because when there's me, there's always dealing with problems because it doesn't go as you really want or what you like and all that. So that this seems something attractive, like there's no one, there's no problems, there's no me. So, and I feel I am me, or there's a me going on here. So how can I lose that me that seems to be the problem, and then maybe everything is going better? That's the same story. It can be very convincing that that's the way of trying to get rid of the me, and how to do that. That it's the same story of me. There's nothing going on. There is no me. So there's, how can you say, there's already no me. That's more it. There's already no me. So there's nothing going on here in these meetings trying to get rid of the me, because there's need to be someone to get rid of the me. It's the same story again. There's already no one. It's it's very simple, but when there's me, and being able, and also being able to abstract and all doing that, and it's very used to do that, then it's used to complication. And this is so simple. It's just what it is. A feeling can be there, wall, the table. Nothing is more important than anything else. That's the freedom. It's everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter. It's the table. It's a feeling. It can be thoughts, not my thoughts. There's thoughts happening in space somewhere. Nothing is mine. Nothing is yours also. There is no me or you. There is what is happening. And even when I'm hearing some people saying, yeah, but that's what's happening. It's what it is and all that. That's trying to deal with what's going on, when maybe if it's not very much that you like, and then you say, yeah, it's what it is. There can be a trying to deal with circumstances that seems not very nice. It has nothing to do with this. There's nothing to deal with anything, because when there's no one, there's no dealing with everything. It's full on what's going on. There can be pain, can be circumstance, can be panic, can be a lot of thoughts going on. And there's nothing wrong. That's also, how can there be something wrong? It's everything. When it's everything, how can there be something wrong? Normally in the story, there's always this is nice and this is good and this is awful, because it's always related. As I feel good about it, then it's all right. When I don't feel good about it, then it's wrong. So there's always a relation with how you feel. When there's no one, there's no relation. There's no relation with anything. So it has nothing, the feeling has nothing to do with circumstances. That's a big one. Normally we think circumstances, they make me feel in a certain way. Or maybe thoughts make me feel in a certain way. There are no relations. So that's a big one. And maybe you're not agreeing in that. We'll see. We can talk about that. This is everything. There's nothing right. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing better than something else. It's what it is. Very literally that. And we can talk about anything. So we can talk also when there's people maybe want to say something or ask questions. You can ask questions about the story. Nothing is wrong or silly or I don't know what. It's every question can be there. So if you want to say something or ask or share maybe, please do. You can unmute yourself or you can use the chat also. And we'll see.
Hi, Rose. Could I ask a question?
Of course. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
First of all, I really appreciate your presence.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and I appreciate these incredible offering you make. And so, but secondly, I have a very strong sense of there being an external God, and I realize that's not in accordance with how non-Advaita or Advaita teachings is. They say, well, there's oneness and so on, and yet I don't dispute that reality of oneness at all. But at the same sense, I still feel very much that there's a divinity who somehow separate from that. But
That you are separate from that, you mean? What did you
indeed,
say that?
yeah, I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
So that I suppose that the practice of Advaita is not to deny that. I mean, the Advaita is not denying like if my sense is of duality, then that's what it is.
Yeah, that
Like
yeah,
like you
yeah.
like the premise of what you said previously is that there's nothing wrong. Everything is as it is. But you could apply the same sense of duality. Like if you feel duality, then that's what is. There's not a problem in that, as long as you feel they're
No,
separate. But sometimes
no.
when you talk to Advaita people, you get a sense of criticism, like that you have to think my way, you have to see it as oneness, which I agree. I would like to see it your way, but I don't, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with no. There can't be something wrong because that assumes that I'm right. Of course, that's silly. That I can't say. There's nothing. It's not about knowing. Also, this has nothing to do with knowing. When there's knowing, I can see that there can be this is right and this is wrong. But then it's more like, yeah, hand or it's this. Yeah, that what is it's just what it is. Just how can it be right or wrong? So
Yeah,
when there's talking and then there's coming that difficulty, like when people are able to abstract, and then there's coming words and things and beliefs and all that, and then it becomes more complicated. And
yeah,
then there's nothing wrong with a belief or all that, but there can be a misunderstanding, and I think that's more where we're talking about. And it's not like I'm right and you're, I, I don't know, of course. But when there's talking about divinity, that what I can say, it's when I can divine, it's everything is divine. For me, it's for me. It's everything is divine. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not I am feeling that, but it's everything. So it's that lamp. It's stunning in that way, and it's not always that strong. But when it's everything, then it's suddenly there's no dividing in this is better than that or all that. It's everything.
But am I wrong in thinking that some things are more divine than others? Like your children or your family,
Mm,
are they not in some way more somehow more precious, or is the love for them not somehow stronger than the stranger on the street?
no, but it's not. How can you say this? It's not. It's what it is. So there can be a strong feeling, but then there's a strong feeling.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's maybe the difference. But it's not better. That's not better. Or a feeling of wow. There can be. It's being in love. So there's a love. No, not for everything is love in that way. But it doesn't mean you like everything. That's different. That's something else. There can be somebody coming and like, oh, and he's acting in a certain way, and they're like, oh my god, that's oh, it's very normal in a way, but it's not. He's not worse or lower than me or something like that. No, of course
Yeah.
not. It can't be. How can it be? That's only in the world. When I am here, then what's so strong is when I am here, is when I feel I'm an individual, then there's two. And when there's two, there's dividing. There's always this is better than that, or this is nice, and this is I want something else, or not all that. You cannot say I don't have that because that's part of the whole story of me. That there's a dividing and that. And when that's lost, then it doesn't matter. But it doesn't mean that when you or other people feel that dividing is there and this is for me more important than that, then that's what's going on. What I don't have anything to say about that. No, it's it's how that's go. When I'm talking to friends, I'm not saying, "Oh no, that's not so," because there's only one. No, of course not. It's it's a bit arrogant to say that in a certain way. It's exactly how it's going, but there's nothing going on trying to change anyone.
Exactly.
And that's something like, oh, that can be felt in a way. That's also in this kind of meetings. It's more energetic. So it's nothing going on trying to change anything or this is better than that or all that. And that's more, it's you can say it, but that's just superficial. But there can be a sense of that going on. And that's what's for me, it's non-duality.
Do you the Christian teachings, and certainly in the Old Testament teachings, they describe issues where what they use the word sin or iniquity or wrong
Mm.
conduct
Mm.
divides, creates division. Have you any sense of that division between they use, of course they use very dualistic thought, but if
Yeah.
you engage in very wrongful conduct, the Old Testament makes it very clear that there's a division between the individual and the divine. And
Yeah. When
I don't,
there's someone, then there's right and wrong. That's part of the story of me.
and that bad karma, you could call it. I don't know if you would allow me to use that word, but that
Yeah.
bad karma that
Yeah.
can separate the individual from the divinity. Is that correct?
No, there's when there's an individual and when there's a story of me, there will always be stories about what's right to do, right behavior, wrong behavior. It's endless, and that's in Christianity. It's in every belief. It's also when there's no belief and there's someone. It's the same story of so this is better than that. You should do this and that, not that. In the story, there's always that. And then there's this message, not even a message, but this talk. It's like now, when everything is lost, then there is nothing wrong. It can't be wrong. It can be painful, or can be pain, or tears, or everything is there, but it's not wrong. How can it be wrong?
Yes.
There's no one doing any, and that's the innocence. There's only innocence. That doesn't mean you. No, how can I say? There's only innocence because there's no one.
Yeah.
So it's not, and there's no one doing that. There's also no. That's what people not like, because you can't also not blame anyone because there's no one. There's no one doing something to you, or you. There's there's not someone here and someone there. Then there's that whole story about blaming and responsibility and guilt and whatever. When there's no one, that's completely out of the window. It's a story. It's assumed that's making up. It's a making up. But it's so normal in a way. But it's no, for me it's not.
Can I ask, you used the word innocence there, which I found charming and interesting. And
Yeah.
many teachers, I think, use this word awareness. Is that the same? Are
No.
you think, are you referring, because the common word in meditation Advaita circles is they use these words either awareness or being or knowingness, and
No.
I don't know
That
whether those words mean anything to you.
no. They don't know. What I know about awareness, I'm not so, but what I know about awareness is part of the story of me. So then when there's awareness, there's someone aware of looking at yourself. What I know about that is looking at yourself and being aware of what's going on. Or there can be complete awareness. All those, it's a story. For me, it's a story. It's abstracting what's going on. This is about talking very, very simple. It's that. It's a cup of tea. Nothing more than that.
And you
It-
wouldn't use the word awareness.
No,
You wouldn't in
no,
any way use awareness as being some kind of ultimate divine.
no, no. Because
And
it's already, what I'm saying, it's already. And because when there's awareness and all those stories about that, then it seems like, oh, I'm not that far yet. It's the same story again.
you know,
It's
In Indian
yeah,
circles, they use this word Atman and Brahman, and and it seems in Western teachings, instead of using Atman and Brahman, sometimes, as I say, they use awareness and being or knowingness or something like that. But do you have a word? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have a word,
mm,
like your word for Brahman? Do you have a word, or do you just disagree with that whole way of using words?
eh, yeah, there can be words, but it's just it's unconditional love. It's innocence. It's silence. But it's not. It has nothing to do with someone. Completely nothing. And what I see with a lot of teachings or
Mm,
talkings about Advaita, it's talking to someone in a way. It's reaching something. This is not about reaching. So there's nowhere to go. Of
mm,
course, it's exactly the way that face is looking. That's talking is happening. It's not
mm.
you talking. It's just coming out. It's just coming like that. So that's complete already.
Meister Eckhart used this word. I mean, he was a brilliant speaker, and he used to
Mm,
refer very much to silence. And
mm,
many great teachers, they talk of, it's not the silence of a room, but it's some
mm,
kind of silence behind the silence, some deep silence. I think
mm.
that Meister Eckhart used that word, deep silence. Does that mean
Yeah,
anything?
but silence is everything. So it's also a car.
Yeah, I see. And does the word silence mean more to you or stillness? Like, is that does that difference mean
No,
anything?
but yeah, you can use those words because it's impossible to describe really what it is. How can you say that? So suddenly, when it's there can be some moments like suddenly that whole construct is not there, and it's suddenly go, oh, that's what you're talking about. How can I say that? I don't know how to say it. It's it's even more when people say and are talking about it, what's being happening, and then suddenly it was so obvious, and then they try to describe it, and then to struggle with words and all that, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's it. So in that way,
I think
uh,
Nisargadatta uses the word that, T-H-A-T, that.
yeah,
Many people, they talk about that. Does that word mean anything?
yeah, but because it's, I think I can use that because it's in a way it's a bit neutral
Yeah.
in that way, because a lot of words have some ideas and
Ah, ah.
like God and love and all that. It's there's silence also. I think a lot of other ideas. That's, and then that's not what I mean. So it's, and even that now it's like so much more known. All those with
So,
YouTube and all
so,
that.
so what,
So
what,
people
what,
say it.
so what do
Mm,
you think of people sitting in meditation for hour upon hour? Is that
yeah,
a is
can
that
do that.
a useful thing for
Yeah.
them? You,
That can happen, or they can be drinking coffee. It's the same thing. There's no difference.
exactly.
There's nowhere to go. It's everything. So it's already that what is happening. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter. That's the joy. That's the freedom. That everything what's going on, that the talking or sitting or being in a car or watching television, eating candy, I don't know, everything is
Uh,
it.
uh,
So there's nowhere to go. You can't escape from life. It's everything already.
how interesting. Thank you very, very much.
Hmm.
There are a few notes in the chat. I think maybe they want you to answer. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can do what. Okay, if you're finished, and if you want to say something more, it's just go on. It doesn't matter.
Well,
It's just
if you don't mind, everyone is sitting quite attentively so far, but uh, so you've got no idea how, like am I right in thinking of that this moment of realization is occurs at some point to individuals that they realize that the moment of realizing that is it is that right to think of people?
no, no. It's not a realization. It's a loss. It's the loss of that. It's what happened here is it's I describe it every time different because the remembering is different. But when that I was sitting somewhere and then I was talking of thinking about things and being busy with myself and all that, and then suddenly that stopped. It didn't go on, and it was like, oh, what? I don't, that was so obvious. There was something, yeah, that. But I didn't. In that moment, it was really clear because there was so clear, and then, but that fell away too. And
Uh,
then there was somewhere it was like, yeah, this is, yeah, there's some, yeah, something like that. But after a few months, there was no clarity. That was all already falling away too. So there was nothing going on. And then there was some stress in the body. And I always thought, oh, that stress in the body, that's me. So, oh my God, the me is back. I thought that. So then when that trying to handle that or things like that, trying to talk, and that started it for a moment, but there was nothing grasping it anymore. But I didn't notice that because that awareness was also gone. It's a strange story. But that awareness was also gone. So there was not, so I forgot that I was busy with trying to get rid of that tension, what I normally did. And then and that happened for a while, a few times like that. And then suddenly that didn't, didn't come up anymore. So it wasn't sure, it wasn't known, it wasn't clear, there was nothing left.
in Zen Buddhism, they use this word kensho, and it's as if the door, the opening, the insight happens and then it closes, and then it opens and then it closes,
Mm.
and you really never know whether the thing is going to close again. And I don't know if that means anything to you that you have
No,
you
no,
don't you
no,
see and then don't see it. It's not
no,
like that. You don't see it
no,
like that at all. You once
no.
you've seen, and that's it.
No, it's not even seeing it.
No.
That's the strange thing because there's no one. So it's when I'm before the meeting, it's that I'm sitting before the meeting and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know anything. I don't know what to say, and people are waiting for me, and yeah, there's nothing there. There's no clarity. No, I am like, Why am I sitting here? I really don't know. Something, it's really like that. So there's nothing. And then suddenly when there's in this meeting, suddenly there's coming answers. There's coming
Does that
response.
drive you to poet? Like in Zen, they have these lovely little poems, and like
Mm,
to capture that experience, you'd have to write a very
mm,
enigmatic poem, just to, like
mm,
even your speech, like you're
mm,
speaking in half sentences, with a
mm,
lot of kind of commas, and that that I
mm.
can see, or I completely understand the difficulty of you.
Yeah.
I had listened
Yeah.
to a Buddhist monk. He went through this, and he said it was like the whole world exploded. It was like a kind
Mm,
of explosion, disappearance, that
mm,
moment of enlightenment,
mm,
and then he realized oneness from that. But
mhm.
you seem to be saying somewhat of the same thing.
Yeah, it's not for me. It's not an explode. It wasn't an explosion. It was more like it feels like loss. It was. I could say there was in some moment there was a subtle, no, split second. There was a disappointment because I had an idea about it should be wow and it should be now
Ah,
overwhelming and all
ah,
clarity and all that. No, it wasn't. It was
ah,
so
ah,
normal. It was
yeah,
so normal. It is
yeah,
so normal. Yeah.
yeah. I find the word that is extremely helpful. What you said, it's a
Yeah,
lot, something falling away. It's like something dissolving, or
yeah,
uh, uh, I got a glimpse of maybe what you were saying, but
mm,
there's no. Of course,
yeah,
everyone wants to somehow hurry that on, and
yeah,
what the Buddha preached was what he called the Eightfold Path, which is based on very good conduct, virtuous conduct for a lifetime. Is that something you recommend to people?
no, of course not. There's no one. How can you do that? And that means that there's still something wrong with you, not right yet, or there's something to develop and all that. It's the same story again, seeing someone and then there's developing. There's no developing. There's no development. There's
What
no
what
evolution. There's
what
nothing. No.
what the Buddha? The reason he pointed out
Mm,
virtue was that he said that within virtue, then the mind develops properly. It develops a stillness, and it seemed that that purpose of the Eightfold Path is to develop a peaceful mind, and then it's within that context of a peaceful mind that at some point enlightenment happens. You don't agree with that?
no. It's an endless road to something that is already there.
And there's
You
no.
can't you can't reach it because it's already there. It's everything, but we cannot believe, we cannot hear that it's already everything. So that feeling, like maybe there's a feeling like that, then that's everything. That's it, or you can't escape it. It's
Hmm.
that face. It's the way the talking happens. It's that hand. It's tea. It's everything.
Is there
How
any
can
way that,
how can you walk? How can you develop in everything?
is there
It's
any way that you feel by your presence or by your words that you can help people to see that?
no, no, no. Of course no, because there's no one to help. That's the joy. That's the freedom. There's no one to help. There's no one already. It's not that there's still someone, and through my words you will see da 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 da. It's the same story again. There's already no one. There's already that. There can be an idea that no, I'm here. Okay, then that's here. I don't see it, but when you see you or someone else can see it like that, then that's what's being seen. Yeah, can be.
Well, the question is not, it's not really how to see, but it's how to get rid of that thing that drops away. That
No, that's what normally is thought, that something has to drop away.
well, that's what you said.
No, doesn't have to drop away. Oh God, how can I say this? That loss, what I said, is not really a loss because there was a misunderstanding about. Although there's so many beliefs about how it should be, and there's something wrong. It's in the end, it's the only. maybe the only difference is that there can be an idea there's still something not right yet, and that's here, that's lost. That's the only thing, maybe you could say that. That's everything. That's it. It's not wrong to feel that, but it's so embodied, that feeling there still has to happen something, or there can happen, or with you it happened and with me not yet, and all that. It's that belief is so strong. It's
So
a misunderstanding, but it's so embodied that it's can be, sometimes it's heard and sometimes not, but not by someone. So that's crazy to hear that it's not heard by someone. It's yeah, it's not heard by no one. It's you. You can't get somewhere. There is already no one. But it doesn't mean that when you feel I am someone, that that's wrong. It's just thoughts like that. There can be those thoughts. Yeah, that's also what's happening.
So, can you in any way predict that event in someone else? Like, can you even
No,
can you
no, no,
can you recognize in someone else that they are free
no,
of the ego?
no. That when there's someone, when there's nothing going on, I can recognize it. Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Can you
that can
recognize?
be.
Can you recognize it across the street? Like, could you see someone across the street and
No,
no?
no. There's not seeing someone. There's bodies walking. I'm not busy with that. There can be seeing a body walking. Yeah, then they're seeing a body walk.
Would you recognize that
No,
liberation in another person?
no, but because there's nothing busy with that. So they're seeing people walking, and that's it, and then mm, doing shopping, and that's it.
And
Nothing.
you
Not
don't, you don't
there's no awareness to watch to people like, oh, what's going on over there? No, it feels like that. No, it's like this. It's
so
more
you're
like that.
saying there's no, you don't have any. What you said you don't have any awareness. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have
There's no
any.
awareness. There's no awareness. That's lost.
You're
Yeah.
not. You're,
It's like little children. Yeah. It's
you
like
don't. You don't have
there's no
awareness.
awareness. No.
There's no awareness.
That's part of the me. Yeah, that's strange because I never thought that could happen. That was could I I couldn't even imagine that could go on. But it's very easy. We think that all that awareness and all thoughts and that helps us to do things and all that. The funny thing is, what is suddenly now very clear, it's just a lot of thoughts, but that's all. It's not wrong or right, but they don't go anywhere. They don't help anything. They don't have any power. It's just thoughts. Yeah, can be there.
Some people use drugs to induce this. Is that something you've come across?
Yeah, there can be anything. There's so many ideas about trying to feel better about yourself. It's
Well,
endless.
the psychedelic drugs is what I meant.
But everybody, when there's me, there's trying to feel better about himself or herself.
Well, they're
It's
not trying to
always
feel
going
better.
on.
They're trying to break through to your realization.
Yeah, well, that feels in a way higher or better or something. It has to be something else like that. Maybe it's
Uh,
saying like that
People
because
regard.
this is not enough. When there's me, there's always somewhere that feeling this is not enough.
Ah,
Somewhere, and there's looking for something else.
ah.
That's lost too.
Ramana Maharshi talked about being still, Samma Iriru or something like that. He talked about the stillness, and that is just abiding in stillness, and that really was his practice.
Yeah, well, who's practicing? When there's an advice and there's someone, it's
Mm.
the same story again.
So you make no recommendations at all.
No, of course not. Because I don't see anything wrong or should be. It's complete. Everything is complete already. So no.
Wow. Yeah. Do you ever sense in any way that you fall away from that state? Do you ever get in any way attracted back into identity?
There can be moments that there are a lot of thoughts going on, and they seems there can be suddenly there can be for a moment a belief in those thoughts, and then but that doesn't last very long. So that can happen. Yeah.
So I guess,
Somewhat.
so I guess,
Somewhat. Yeah.
I guess there's a progressive purity within yourself. Is probably what I. Well, I'm only
But
guessing.
that's not only here, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's not only here. Of course, it's everywhere. But we have an idea that it should be different, and it should be this or that or that. It's yeah. Mm. Hmm. I'm gonna. Is it okay? I'm gonna read those
Yes, ma'am.
chats, and
Thank
then
you very
maybe
much.
later on we go on.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. There's someone saying it seems like you lost something. I want to lose, and if there's no I to begin with, then how can something be done to get there? It seems that knowing there's no one is a state to chase and get for the me, of course. Yeah, that's always, yeah, that's because that when there's that belief and that's so embodied, so it's not only in the head, but it's just that embodied belief that I'm here, and there's always that feeling there's something missing maybe, or this is not enough, or what can I something else. It is always something else. And then there's seeing like, oh, how can I do that? And that seems like through exercise or practicing or all that. And it's never enough. It's never always there, because that's what you feel. And that seems like, oh, then there's hearing it's about loss. But you think like, I want that loss. And that, because when they're saying there's something lost, it's not really a loss, because beliefs, what is a belief? Its thoughts can happen, and it can be very convincing, and then suddenly that belief is not so much there. But normally what happens when their belief is not that strong anymore, or it's just going away, it's not even noticed, because then when it's gone, it's just not in your mind or nothing, it's not there. So that's how it's also with this. So in that way, and that sounds a bit strange, there's no change. So in that way, I can also, there's only a loss when I'm talking in the story. There was someone and Roes and with a lot of ideas about how I should be and all that. And then suddenly that all those beliefs and ideas that didn't arise anymore. So people can say, I want that. But it's in the same time, it's what's happening. So there's just what is. So in that way, there's no change. There's what is what is lost, the idea that there's something wrong, or that there should be a change. It's also no escape. There's no escape from what is. When it's feeling or a bit then that's what's going on. There's nothing coming up trying to change it. And when there's something coming up, it can be there, and then it's falling away. There's nothing, you could say, it's not sticky anymore. And when there's that belief, that's when there's that idea about I want that, I want also that loss, and also, and it feels like it's really important, then it's sticky. It's not, nothing is important. So this is something you can't do. What we normally have when there's someone that, what can I do or not do or exercise or that, because that's the way we know how we get somewhere, because this seems to get somewhere. And now then I'm saying, no, it's not about getting somewhere. It's already there. So it's like the mind, or that whole structure, like me, is trying to find it out and trying to, and then it can't grasp it. It can't understand. It can't work it out and all that. So it's a bit, there's no answer. So it falls a bit apart. Then there's something going on. So it's another way around, what we are not used to. And somebody say, when the apparent me apparently drop, it's obvious that in dying, nothing dies or changes or becomes something else. Yeah, then nothing dies because there was already no road. It's even, and that's what when there was Rose in the story going on and going to meetings and do this and all that. And then suddenly it's that there's no one existing. There's even no Rose. That's also a story. There is no Rose going on. No. There can be this face, and then there's the table, and then there's a hand, or there's no story of Rose. No. And funny enough, then when there's going on, there can be going to the shopping and making appointments and all that. So in a way, that story still goes on. So this is crazy. How can you explain this? It's a paradox. Paradox. And then somebody says, you say there are no consequences because there's no time. I read a book about quitting smoking. Now I quit. I feel better and I experience all sorts of benefits. What's happening here? I can really see a before and after. But when there's living in the story, there's living in time. So we have a remembering, and we assume that the remembering, that is what really did happen. So then there's before, and then there's seeing this now, and I feel now good or something like that. So there's comparing, and in the story there's always a before and after. So it's so crazy to hear there's no time, because it's so the normal way of thinking that when there's a remembering of yesterday, then you assume that it's really happened, it really is there, it's, and the way it happened, you're sure it was like that, you felt like that, and now there's something different. So this is my life, so what there was happening, I am continuing, so I am living already so many years, so now that was 10 years ago and that is now, and it's a story. But it's so convincing and it's so sticky. And then there's hearing, no, there's no development, there's no continuation. There's only this, that's everything. And there's nothing before. That's completely out of the story. We're not used to to hear that, because everything what we try to reach is in the story. So then also there will be a confirmation about when there's trying to quit something and you read a book or do exercises or a group, and then after that it succeeded. So there's the proof that that method is working. Not always, but okay, it can be. Yeah, there's always a confirmation when you try to say, yeah, there are consequences, but it's in time. In time, yeah, there's always something going on. But hearing there's no time, that's time is a construct. What is yesterday? What is that? What is yesterday? Some people, I hear some people saying, yeah, when I think about what's happening yesterday, it feels a bit like it never happened. Ah, there's something going on, because it's so etheric, or I don't know how to say it. It's something strange about yesterday or maybe last week or things like that. So there's already can be something going on, like it's not that solid. We because when there's me, there's always being busy trying to make yourself that I am existing. You have to prove or to confirm or to be busy with that you are existing, and then busy with that because it's holding on to it. When there's that not holding on to it, it falls apart. When they're saying no, there's no yesterday, then that's frightening, that's terrifying, because that is not confirming that there's someone with an identity living her or his life. That's a threat. Saying there's no one is a threat. It can be a relief sometimes, but it's also a threat for all those ideas and identity that I'm here. And I have done this, and because of I did that, now I feel like this. And then it's hearing, no, there's only not knowing. There can something happening, but there's no why. Wow, that's so. It's about also about something else. When there's a problem, and we try to solve it, then there's nowhere to go. So there's no escape from what's going on, and it can be anything. Yeah, they're saying, what created this? And then somebody saying, nothing is created. There's no creation. This is an appearance. That's so crazy. We are so convinced that everything is solid and real. And I'm sitting here in my house and I'm living in that city. And over there is another country and everything is real, what's going on. And then there's hearing this now. There's no other country. There's no outside. That's a construct that we can abstract. There can be information about that, but that's only information. This is everything. This room, the wall. It's crazy. But it's also very, very simple. It's like a child. It's like a child. Really little children. They can't abstract. There's still that brain going on, and there's abstracting can happen, like knowing there's time and tomorrow and all that. That still works, but it's not serious or important. Wow. Oh, thank you, Rose, so much for your tireless answers to our questions. Oh, I love it. Mm.
Rose, the Buddha gave a lot of reflections on karma or karma, and he said that the karma is obstructs the enlightenment. Is that
Oh,
something?
no, but karma is from somebody. There's some that needs someone. That's already completely something else than what I'm talking about. I don't see anyone, so there's no karma. It's a construct.
For you, no, there's no karma, but for other people, there's karma.
Yeah, but when there's me, there's can be all kinds of ideas that because there's somewhere that feeling I'm not good enough, or there's something not enough, or there's something missing. So there's looking for something else, and there can be in the belief that there's karma and I should do the bad. That behavior, it's most of the time it's about behavior, and this is right and this is wrong. There are different ideas about behavior. Some people this said this is right, and some people say no, that's wrong. So, well, they can be very convincing, and then, but that's part of the story of me. Can be anything.
Ramana Maharshi used the I am method of enlightenment.
Mm,
He recommended to follow the source of I am.
mm,
He says, "Where does the I am come from?" And that was his
mhm.
meditation method.
Who does it? Who does do that? Who can do that? That is someone who have a choice to do that. That's already the same story. This is not enough. This is not complete yet. So you can do an exercise. And then it seems very convincing, trying to get enlightenment. There is no enlightenment. It's already what is happening.
Yes,
This already,
yes,
this the sitting is already it.
yes.
Walking, whatever. Yeah.
Does the word God mean anything to you?
No, not really. When God means everything, then it's the same. Can call God, but there's a lot of ideas about God, so that can be confusing.
Well, the Indians have a better word, this word Brahman, which I mentioned. But
Mm,
Brahman is associated
mm,
with like
yeah.
universality, knowledge, love, all those things. Does that word mean
No,
Brahman?
it's not. Has nothing to do with knowledge. This is not knowing. That's complete. No, there's no knowing. It's lost. What
Love.
you don't need to know. But, of course, there can be like learning how to drive or that kind of practical things. But no, not in the behaving or that kind of knowing. No, that's a construct.
If you cultivated love, would that be a method you would, or a practice you would encourage? Like
I would I wouldn't do a practice. Of course, I can't. How can I give a practice if I say it's already complete and I don't see anyone? So how can I do that? No, of course not.
So the way to realize that realization is also not through any cultivation of love or pursuit of love or
No,
practice of love in any shape or form.
no, no, it's no. But love is also a lot of misunderstanding. It's what I say love is unconditional love. It's not a feeling. That's not a feeling. Unconditional love is it's the same as everything. It's everything. So it's also that it's also unconditional love or whatever. Or tea or everything is that. Life is that already. There's nowhere to go. That's the freedom. It's everything. So there's nowhere to go. It's there can't be something wrong. It's that hand. It's the way that computer is working. The, it's that feeling. It's that or anything. Not for anyone. There's no one. It's life doesn't see anyone. That's can I can say that's the misunderstanding that there's someone inside and it's about us. No, it's not about us. Life doesn't see us. It's just random going. So it's everything.
Can I ask what happens in sleep? Do you like
I don't know.
with
I'm
enlightenment?
sleeping.
Like there's a theory amongst some people that the enlightened remain somehow awake during sleep. Is that your experience?
No. That's no. 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 I don't recognize that. It's just sleeping, dreaming sometimes. Silly dreaming
I really
can be
appreciate
there.
your answers. You've been extremely generous with your. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Okay. Hi. Hey, Lauren, you wanted to say something. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was just when you were saying that everything is an appearance. I was wondering, like, does it make sense to say that it just goes on forever?
That it goes on forever? Did you say that?
Yeah, that it
Mm,
goes on forever. That
there's no forever. There's this.
okay.
There's this. Because that feels a bit like, I don't know, or just, it's here. It's here. Yeah, how can you say it? It's that cup of tea, but it's an appearance of that glass. It doesn't matter if you don't see it like an appearance, but it feels and it sees like it's real, then you see it less real. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. But it's fun. It's crazy to hear. Oh, there's there's I'm maybe sometimes you saying like, hey, had this is a cup of tea and it's real. I feel it, it's real. And then hearing, no, it's not. There's a sensation somewhere. Then there's that feeling, but it doesn't mean it's real. How? It's another possibility. Well, yeah, it's more that nothing is real. It's an appearance of tables and bodies, feelings, energy. Mm.
Yeah, so there doesn't have to be any direction,
Any, what do you say? It doesn't have to be any what
direction, like or
direction. No,
direction,
no.
like like a like a direction of or any dimensions of like up and down and, you know, before and after, and
But that's in the story. And
there's
when there's
just like,
going on, then that still goes on, of course. Everything is seeing like
yeah.
the brain still works, so the abstracting can still happen, and seeing that something is behind that and all that still goes on. But in a way, it's funny that we are so sure that there's distance, that that table is over there and I'm here, and then suddenly there can be that moment that, oh no, there's no distance. It's, but how can you explain that? It's suddenly obvious, and yeah, it's there. And then it's still, the brain can still see that over there also it's going there. But in the same time, there's no distance. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. And somebody saying, oh, I lost my child and it gave no meaning to me. Oh, okay. Mm. Yeah. There can be feelings, of course.
People used to cry when Ramana was approaching his death, and they say, "You're dying, and you're leaving, and you're going away, and we're very sorry." And he said, "You know, I'm. Where am I going? Where is there that I could go to?" It was like he was saying, how could I
Mm.
be going? Where am I going to?
Yeah. 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 That's it. We assume that everything is solid and real and the whole time there, and then there's a connection or a relation between people. And when that's suddenly that body isn't appearing anymore, it feel can be that the loss of that can, yeah, can be there.
The Buddha taught these Four Noble Truths, and he said that suffering is due to attachment and craving. And I wonder if you ever go through any suffering like that. Do you also have to practice?
No, it's not suffering, but there can be pain and panic and crying and all that. Yeah, of course. That's that. Yeah, there's no. There can be finding thinking. There's a reason for that. There can be those thoughts. Can be there or not. Not knowing why that crying is there can be, or there's an idea, but it's mixed. So there can be ideas about crying, but it's mixed. So I'm not really sure why it's there, of how it's there. So yeah, any feeling can be there, but it in the same time, it's not that it's in the mind, but it's not mine. So it's full on crying or pain or a feeling, and there's nothing going on trying to get rid of it. That's not appearing, that those thoughts or so. So then that's full on, and after a while that stops and there's something else going on.
So you don't teach you don't advise people to abandon attachment or to abandon craving. That's not your
No,
technique.
no, because I don't see anyone. So it's not that, but it's not something special. It's it's more like, how can you, how we are so sure that there's someone inside and there's someone over there and that needs help. The only thing what I see is there's a body and people are talking. That's every. Well, it's very literally, so it's not special in that way. There's no giving meaning to things. That extra, what normally is part of me, is doing, assuming that it's like that, and when somebody's crying, I need to do something about it. No, when someone is crying, someone is crying. I don't know. There can be a response or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been told that when the mind is quiet, then the body knows what to do. Somehow there's a knowledge to what to respond in the right way without the mind. When the mind is quiet,
Yeah, but that's tricky because there's no right thing to do. There's what is happening is already what is happening. So there's nothing wrong with anything. That doesn't mean that what is right. I don't know what's right. When people stop crying? No, I don't think so. They can be crying and then yeah, maybe sitting next and not trying to stop it, or I don't know. I don't know what's right. Yeah. That's more that arrogance of me, that knowing this is right and this is wrong and it should be different and all that. When that's lost, it's more what it is. It's like a little child, but it's not. If you see little children, you can't see, oh, that he's doing that right, he doing that wrong. That's how we as adults look at them. It's just what's happening. There's nowhere to go. Life isn't always, we think we are human. There's a lot of people, there are a lot of individuals, there are countries, there are all the stories of that. This is completely something else. It has nothing to do with the story. That's crazy because we are so into individuals and people with free will and choice. And when there's no one, there's no free will and choice. There's no abstracting anything anymore. So there's nowhere to go. There's no time. There's no distance. Oh, when there's no time, there's no before and after. That's huge because we're so into consequences and how to do things and continuation and development. That whole thing is out of the window. That's the freedom. It's and there's somebody saying getting ready to have a child is the thing that brought back importance here. Yeah, of course. There's so many ideas about how you should be as a mother, what you should do. This is really important and all that. Yeah. And you can do something wrong because that's part of that importance, of course. You can't do something wrong. That's amazing because motherhood and childs and all that. The child has to feel always good and all that kind of stuff. I know. Well, no, you can't. It's what's going on. And then maybe there's some reactions in that what that some behaving in a certain way is not wrong. It can be that there's a child is crying. Yeah, that can be, but that it's not because you did something wrong. The child is crying. It's exactly that for no reason. And sometimes there's something. Oh, I can do that, and sometimes there's not knowing. Yeah. Hmm.
so is formal meditation part of your life at all?
If there's meditation,
Yeah, it's
but there's no my life already. God. Oh God, there's no my life. No, I don't have a life. No, nobody has a life. There is life. So there can be drinking tea or sitting or doing yoga. I know, not so much here, but running. I don't know, anything. It's very normal. Hmm. Hmm. There's what is lost, and that's you. That it's not most of the time. It's not even realizing it because there's nothing going on about that. But when now I'm talking about this, it's like that whole thing about this is right and this is wrong, or I should do this, or oh, what did I do? That isn't arising. It's just there's nothing going on but right and wrong because that's always looking at yourself and comparing and this is right and all that. That's lost. But when that's lost, you forget it was there. So it's normal. That's so funny.
The word for what is lost in the Eastern traditions is this word, what they translate as ignorance or avidya.
Mm.
If you've heard that word, those words, that's
Yeah, yeah. Not knowing or innocence. Yeah, like that. But it makes it into something in a way, and it's more like
no.
just random doing. It's already it's the funny thing is it's already random. We think we decide and we do it in that way and we do, no, it's already that reaction that it's just going. There's no one doing that already. So it's like that. So what's lost is that whole idea on top of that. What we think we have an idea from um, I should do a lot of thoughts about this is right and I should do this. So that whole construct that seems really important, that's that seems like that leads my life is lost, but it was already not important at all. It didn't do anything, but we were convinced, I was convinced, of course, also, that run my life, that thinking about it and being busy with everything, comparing and all that, and that run my life. And then when it didn't come up anymore, it was like, oh, that never run my life. I don't have even a life. It's just going random like that and that. And there's nowhere to go. It's just going in a certain way. It has nothing to do with Rose or somebody else. It's just random like that. And we have so many ideas and concepts of what's going on. It's just lost. And it's like, oh, it's so easy. Life is so easy. It's just going. There's no one doing it. It's just going by itself. When there's an idea, oh, it should go in a different way or I want this, then there's problems. When that's not arising, it's just how it's going. So there's also no escape from what's going on. When there's pain or some situations, then that's full on. There's no escape from anything. But there's no big deal in that because that was already. Yeah.
Do you get invited by Christians and other groups
No,
to?
no. No, I don't think so. They don't like this. Oh, no. They're
I,
so involved in right and wrong. No.
I came across this John chapter 17. I don't know if how well you know the Bible. Jesus regularly said, "I and the Father are one." But in this chapter 17, he said he
Mm,
wished upon his disciples that they would have the same realization. And it seems to me that he was
mm.
preaching enlightenment, no different from anyone else.
Yeah, but that's what's written down. So you don't know what. And was it one person? I don't know. Yeah. There's so many story, but who has written it down and what is the stories and I don't know. There can be in some gospels there can be like suddenly like, oh yeah, then there's talking about something. But a lot of things are written from someone who is looking at someone else and writing it down. I don't know. Mm.
I have to go now. There's an emergency in the house behind me, so my mother wants me to.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm
Yeah,
incredibly.
thank you. Thank you for asking. Thank
It
you.
was a wonderful meeting. Thank you.
Thanks. Sometimes whether to resist or not seems like a choice. Yeah, when there's when that's so embodied, that feeling I'm here and I can choose and all that, it's not only an idea in the mind, it's so embodied. And when that's there, that there can be thinking like there's a choice to do this or to do that. When that's doing a certain thing, in the end, we are so convinced that what's going on in the like thoughts going on, it seems like they um hoe ga je bepalen? They make that we do like that. Well, it's just going like that. Those thoughts, they can be there, and there can be a lot of thinking about how to and what's important and all that. It's only thoughts. It's amazing when there's thoughts. What is thoughts? It's certain energy, and we are so convinced that that energy, thoughts, is making our life work or not work, or but that you it's important to do it. How can those thoughts have power? They don't have power. It's just thoughts, and everything's going in that way. But we're so convinced that there's something that makes it, and there's a why and all that. It's on top of everything. Is all that. It's a construct. And when that's lost, that whole construct, it's suddenly like, oh, everything is the same. Everything is still going on, going to the shop, making this and all that. Without that whole thinking about it and all that. Oh, it wasn't needed. Oh my God, that was my life. I did all day. I was busy with that. Wow. Yeah. It feels like, oh my God, that's my control. So that seems very convincing that there's a kind of control or things like that. And hearing there was never control. That's crazy. Hmm. Are you still there?
I had to help my brother. I've come back again. But you're such a joy and a pleasure to live to be with. I'm surprised anyone leaves you alone.
Oh, not always. Hmm. There can be irritation here. Or two.
Tony, I met Tony last. He
Hmm.
gave a session last week. He can be very ferocious, actually.
Hmm.
You're a much gentler spirit.
Hmm.
But, I love you both. I'm not in any way, but it's.
Yeah. It's not always like I'm not always like this, and he is not always like that. So it's just I don't know. You can't say that. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
So the big surprise for me, and that I always I can't say that I argue, but the find that I find so perplexing is how much the Buddha stressed this karma, which is that it's like an accumulation of actions that have occurred over countless eons, countless lifetimes, and that he said you have to accept the results of your actions
Oh.
before, without which you cannot, will not attain enlightenment. There has to be a reckoning. And so this life, very often monks will go through strange periods of illness or difficulty, and it's quite clear that there's some kind of karma clearance, and then within the context, within that training, then gradually they make progress, and that's how I understand it. But you've come in and said,
No. It's the same story as always. There's something wrong. I did something wrong. There's something gone wrong and I have to make it right. Or there's something missing and I have to find it. Or that story. That's the story of me. And it can be in all kinds of ways. It's different and it can be subtle, more subtle, and it seems like it's different and it's still the same story. It's always about you're not good enough yet. No, it's already it's already complete. How can we say it's not good enough? It's that idea that there's someone, and then that feeling when there's someone, and then that's a feeling of there's a loss of that everything, of that oneness, that really little children. There's just one. There's nothing going on like dividing, and then suddenly when that brain can abstract, then suddenly it's like, oh, there's someone over there, and there's something, it seems like there's two then, and then suddenly the whole story starts. And because that's everybody has, it's like, it seems like in the world everybody is in that, so it's very convincing that's the only way is there, and then there's suddenly this kind of talking and it's has nothing to do with the story. So there are not many people, because most people want to feel good about what's going on and want to have answers and all that. And this is not giving answers. There are no answers. This is going nowhere. So people get bored. But because it's already the sitting. It's sitting. That's everything. It's already that. And people say, yeah, sitting. Yeah, what is that? That's boring. Well, it's sitting, or it's that wall, it's walling, it's that's everything. There's nothing else. It's just that. It's singular. God, that's stunning. We're so looking in the story and finding something and someone, or maybe that. And it's never enough. It's always for a while and then still goes on. Ah! And it's that looking, that that already, that feeling is it. It's that. So close. It's closer than close.
yeah, I could listen to you forever. It's extremely charming.
Oh. Yeah. But it's stunning. It's that wall. It doesn't matter where you are or whatever is happening. It's that. And it doesn't mean it's accepting or anything. It has nothing to do with that. But when there's nothing going on about wanting to get rid of it or all that, trying to change it, it's that pain can arise, of course. There can be pain full on, or sadness, or but that's what's happening, and then after a while it's something else. See, you look at the little children, it's like that, really full on crying, and then after a while they're playing again. It's that, in that way, in a way.
I think your word innocence is very charming, and love is a problem word because
Yeah,
it's a big problem,
yeah,
because you're talking about something that people don't really understand. It's same also with, even with the word like silence or stillness. It's also it's full of
yeah.
conception.
There's so many concepts about that, or ideas or beliefs. Yeah, yeah, that's confusing, can be confusing.
Ramana
Yeah.
Maharshi's way of teaching was just through silence mainly. He did resort to speech, but he wasn't the only one. But he would receive people in this Ramana ashram in India, on his couch, if you remember, and people would. He very often would not talk to them. Not that he wasn't teaching, but it was a. I think you would have to use. It was receiving in silence, because there's nothing you can say when you had that realization, and then very often, if you're obliged to say something, you just it won't come out right, however you put it. So it's quite a difficult situation to have to teach something where.
Yeah, but then there's an idea that there are people over there, they don't have it reached it yet or something like that, and there's a teaching going on. I don't see someone sitting there. There's no one sitting there. There's that body can there, but that's complete yet already. So it doesn't matter. We can also talk about the weather. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It has to be non-duality things or silence or anything. We talk about the weather, and the sharing is still the same. It doesn't matter. So there's no need for silence or anything. There's no need for anything.
So Ramana didn't have some idea, I've got to sit here and be silent and that's the best way to teach. No such idea will have occurred to him. He simply.
I don't know. Yeah, it can be. Can be. I don't know how that was going. But when he just sit there and didn't say anything, that can be there. I can sit somewhere and not saying anything, and yeah, can be too. But this is not it can happen that there's silence and there's not saying anything, but it's just what's going on. And maybe 5 minutes later, there's a lot of chatting about the television. I don't know. Yeah, can be too. Yeah. It's not better to have silence than talking about a television program. No. Mm. Mm.
I've gone into a situation where I've done something very misguided in the past, which is creating a lot of trouble for me. And it creates a lot of division. So I think it's from that I get a sense of division between me and God. And as much as I understand your teachings on oneness, I also know that I feel I've been hampered by past actions.
Yeah, but you're the same as me. There's no difference. There's no difference, really. It's that too. It's complete. It's that there can be ideas. Now that's just thoughts and ideas. Yeah, so what? There's no difference.
Yes.
It's complete. Exactly how you're looking out of the words coming. It's that. It's that. It's unique.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they're saying nice Zoom meeting. I appreciate your openness and your honesty. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Mm, yeah. Mm,
Yeah, you have a very nice manner, very easy to work with.
mm. Oh, thanks.
Sometimes these Advaita meetings, I think especially if the teacher is not fully realized, it can become very awkward. If it if you're trying to say something that you haven't realized yourself, it's altogether different tone. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I can think. Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hi, one moment. Caroline. Yes. Oh, great. Hi, bye. Oh, it's already time. I forgot the time. Hey, thank you. Thank you for asking questions and being there. Thank you. Thank you. Why?
Thank you, Roes. Bye.